Warning! This podcast contains Jesse Quick.
Oh, yeah.
And I really feel like my head's gonna hurt again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTV podcast for The Flash, Season 3, Episode 3, Magenta. I am your host, Clio, and with me I have Dom and Nikki.
Ayo.
How's it
Hello,
going?
peoples. Good. Good. I like that we started this episode off with a look at how, not only how Barry sees time when it's moving slow, but how, normal people see time when it's moving slow.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And something I've always liked is how speedsters, kind of need to view normal time differently.
Mm-hmm.
So what that scene reminded me of was the comics. One of the comics that Impulse was in, and I completely forgot what it was. He had a line where it was like, "It takes so much effort to slow down and speak to you. It's annoying."
Yeah.
It's just so funny, and I thought of that where it's everything around him freezes,
Yeah.
and it was kind of a nice thing to do when Jessie also explains how she got her powers, and it's kind of the same slow down thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's also a nice change of pace from Barry in the first two seasons where all he wanted to do was go faster.
Yeah.
And now he's just acknowledged that he's good. But now he's bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to be
now
fair,
that he's gotten
Julian-
faster, he's it's everything else is just slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, Julian's kind of holding him back at the same time. Even though he can go super fast and go around Julian and do this and do that, Julian's still doing it. He's still the
Yeah.
boss, but not.
Yeah.
It's-
And I love Julian. I love him so much.
I don't think you would if it was a different actor.
Maybe not. Maybe it's because it's Tom Felton. Maybe.
That's
Maybe.
exactly what it is.
I think-
if it was
I think
anyone
that's where
else,
I'm
you would have been
sitting
like,
at.
this person is a dick. I don't like them. That's not my Cisco.
Hashtag not my Cisco. But I don't know. I like his character too. It's not just the actor. I like his character too because I think there is this, and I want to know his backstory because there's this guy who it seems like he wants to do good and he wants to stop the bad metas. But I also think he's got this handicap where Barry and Joe know about these metas. They have more information than they're sharing with Julian, and I'm wondering
He has more information than he's sharing with them.
that's true. But to be fair, it's because he doesn't trust Barry.
Yeah.
Barry's given him no reason to trust him.
Because he's Dr. Alchemy.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm convinced.
I don't know.
You can't convince me otherwise.
And that could be true. But I don't think it means he's going to be a bad guy forever. I don't know. I think he's potential to be a good guy.
I don't know. I think he was just too gung-ho this episode because of the way he's talking to a teenager and he's yelling at her, and it was just no, stop.
Yeah.
You can talk to her and she won't go magenta on your ass, but
See,
Yeah.
I think that was all carefully planned.
Oh, you think he knew?
I think he knew, and I think he's on to Barry, and he knows that Barry's the Flash, and he was provoking that meta because he knew she was gonna break. He knew that there was a history of multiple personalities or whatever they said. I don't remember the exact term that they used, and started screaming at her in the thing to trigger it. And I think he's going to review footage of that and find Barry standing on the staircase and all of a sudden moving really, really fast. So.
I guess. I mean, I'm looking at him as if he doesn't know really much of anything, and he's just going off of what he's found out recently, and that was really just a jackass thing to do. Because
If he is not...
if he... I know he knew that he had an inkling that she was a meta, But why would you go and poke and prod when you know exact kind of what she can fucking do? Why would
Because
you
you
do
know
that?
Barry's gonna save you.
I'm saying like if he didn't know any of this, like he's just like without the
Well,
the knowledge of
Right, and
Barry.
that's why I can't accept the fact that he didn't
oh,
do it intentionally.
okay, hold on. But if, because Julian, when he went down to yell at her, seemed like he thought that she did it on purpose, that she knew she had full faculty capabilities,
Mhm.
and she understood what she did. But it seemed like if he's not Dr. Alchemy, let's, for argument's sake, if he's not Dr. Alchemy, it seemed like he didn't know there was a dissociative personality. It seems like he was without that information. So
Still, you should be
And if he's
walking on
not Dr.
eggshells.
Alchemy, he's going to be somebody with powers from Flashpoint.
yeah,
Has to
that'd be cool. Yeah, because I mean, all the other metas are dead basically. So we gotta repopulate the meta community.
Well, Joe explained it really well. He's to Wally this episode that all of it's Central City. I was getting it mixed up with Arrow. All of Central City was hit with dark matter in the first particle explosion, and only a few metas have popped up here and there. And there are people who are still unaffected. They haven't shown any symptoms of having powers, so
yeah,
they have to bring the metas in some other place.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally everybody was hit with dark matter.
Yes.
Look at the odds of gaining abilities.
Powers, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also when they manifested. How long
Yep.
did it take Cisco to have his first flash?
Yeah.
It took a long time.
Is it triggered from time or trauma or just because you woke up one day,
Yeah, it's different for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Jesse and Harrison Wells, Harry, whatever
Harry.
you call him, I don't know, come over. Oh my god, I loved that Cisco just had the gun pointed at the the breach, and Barry and Iris are asking him questions. He's like, well, if we knew, we wouldn't have called you. Like, I love this Cisco, where he's like still got a bit of the funny Cisco, but he's like angry and cynical and
he's
sarcastic.
Yeah.
Dry about it.
Yeah, he's like got a dry humor now, and it's fantastic.
See, when
I love
Jesse
it.
first came through the portal, like instantly did like 10 laps, maybe 100 laps, I don't know, around the breach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, oh my god, she can't stop. Like, I thought that she was
that
broken.
would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I thought she was broken and couldn't stop running.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they came through. So she was just running circles, and he was going to be like, yeah, she got powers and can't stop moving. Like, that's where I thought that was going.
I saw the breach and I was like, yes, Wells is coming back. I got so excited. He's such an asshole. I love him.
He really is. And now he's got like.
What do you mean? He's the perfect gentleman. Not.
Is that an Earth 2 thing? No, it's just him.
My god.
Like, the second and the third time he did it, I was like, you need to stop. That has to stop.
Everybody else was like, you need to stop too.
The first time he did it, I'm like, what are you doing? The second time he did it, I was like, all right, this is getting old. The third time he did it, I go, this is just ridiculous, and I love it.
It really just got ridiculous. But yeah, and you just see it on Wally's face when he finds out Jesse's got powers. He's just so upset. He wishes he had powers too.
He just wants to contribute, and you can just see it. It's like burning him up inside. He wants to help Barry so bad.
Yeah. And I mean, this version of Wally, I don't think has powers. I don't think the dark matter affected him that way.
Mm-mm.
But he might get a visit from Alchemy, and if he does, I bet you will say yes. He will be like, yes, give me speed.
Yeah.
I want speed.
100%.
But see, like, the way I view alchemy is the same way I kind of view, like, a crossroads demon, say, like, Crowley from Supernatural. There's going to be Wally has to fulfill his end if alchemy's going to give him powers. And if Wally doesn't do it, shit's going to fly, and he's going to probably end up dead.
And I mean, if it is Julian, who is alchemy,
we already saw him stand out in front of a car.
Wally? Yes.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
He wanted, like,
he wanted that bad.
Yeah, it was like
he was willing to risk killing himself for powers.
Because Jessie went through a traumatic experience. She was going to get hit by a car, and then that's when her powers clicked in. It was like self-preservation. I think he was trying to accomplish the same thing, but by willingly jumping in front of a car, I don't think it's the same.
No, it's definitely not.
No,
because he knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, I don't think that this Wally has powers, and I don't think that will manifest. I think the only way he's going to get powers in this timeline is if alchemy gives it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
2 things.
Sure.
Address. What is up with this new room?
The new speed room?
Yeah.
The speed room?
Yeah.
I don't know, to test abilities.
When was this thing made?
It must have been it's a difference. And I love they walked in and you know, Barry's just like, oh, I've never been in this room before. And Wells is like, you traveled through time, asshole. It's like instantaneous. He's like, oh, I knew it.
So the second
Didn't we talk about this? We talked about this.
The second thing is just that statement right there. Time travel is not relative to multiple Earths.
No?
What do you mean?
Barry went, time traveled, screwed up the timeline for Earth 1, had 0 effect on Earth 2.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't.
They came through the breach going, we've never been in this room before either.
They didn't say that.
Oh, yes, they did.
Yeah, he said that this is new, too, to him.
Yeah, he goes, the reason why I knew is because we've never been here before either. Therefore, you changed the timeline.
Okay.
So we now have confirmation that Barry changing things does not affect what happens in multiple Earths.
Okay. Because they exist outside of this Earth's timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are from a different Earth. All right, okay.
But, I mean, if they were on the Earth at the time Barry did it, it would affect them, possibly. We don't know because they vibrate at different... But the fact that they're there, I think time is relative to where you are.
Yeah.
In terms of the dimensional issue. So
yeah,
if Barry's
I think
affecting the timeline when they're on the Earth, I think they would be affected.
Yeah.
But Earth 2 would not be affected. They went back and nothing would have changed, kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
It's interesting. It makes my head hurt because it creates all sorts of new paradoxes that my brain can't comprehend.
I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
What was I gonna say? I don't remember. But Wells took Jessie here in the first place because he wants to talk her out of using her powers. Because he's an asshole.
He just doesn't understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I get where he's coming from. I really do. I can't fault him.
No, of course not. But, I hate to say it, we've been down this road before, Harry. Where, you know, overprotective Jessie makes her not want to speak to him anymore.
And it wasn't...
to have nothing to do with him.
It wasn't until Caitlin, not having the conversation with Jessie, but having the conversation with Wells.
She rips
Oh my
into
god.
him.
And
He had 3 new assholes after Caitlin was done with him.
My jaw hit the floor more than Wells's did.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like...
She said the perfect words to make him be like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're right.
Yeah.
He didn't even have words. There were no words.
There was no response out of Wells. He just stood there and she walked away.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't even watching her walk away. He was just still standing, staring, and she was gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she's right. You know, it's best to teach her and learn with her about her powers and all this stuff. And then when she's in trouble, she'll come to you instead of running from you.
Yes.
And that's exactly what he's been trying to achieve this whole time. And he's a super genius, and he could not figure this out on his own, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I love.
It's the trouble with being smart.
But it's not also smart. It's being blindsided as a parent too, where
Yes.
you have your ideals and whatnot your kids should be doing, and you're telling them no because you know what reason and why you don't want them to do it, and they're rebelling for a completely opposite reason. And you know, you gotta have some kind of common ground somewhere.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a little bit why Dad Cop didn't work on Wally.
Dad cop.
I love it.
There's good
It's good
cop,
cop,
there's
bad cop,
bad
dad cop.
And dad cop.
I like how Joe called Barry another daughter.
You overshare. You overshare your emotions. It's like having a second daughter, and Barry's just like, what?
And he even like walks away from that conversation like, second daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Honestly, I think Barry should see that as a compliment. The fact that people don't have to squeeze, his emotions out of him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good thing. But yeah, Joe probably could have worded that a bit better.
Yeah.
I like the way it was worded because
yeah.
it made Barry react.
Oh yeah,
and think actually,
mm-hmm.
which he hasn't been doing recently.
No, and yeah, it like kicked him in the butt. So he's like, I gotta use my brain for this one. I can't just use my speed for this one.
Yeah, It's not even just speed. He's been acting on emotion this whole time, and
yeah,
you can't really fault that either. A lot of people make stupid decisions when they think emotionally.
Yeah, and I mean Barry is a very emotional person, which makes him Barry.
Right.
Which makes him good at what he does.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Frankie. And
Frankie was fantastic.
I loved Magenta.
I love the fact that they didn't lock her in a cell, because I'm sitting here going, so they're gonna save her and lock her up in, that's the end of that.
Yeah, lock this tiny child up in a cell.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that they would like take her under their wing and help her
there's
instead of just sending her
there's
off.
Plenty of time for that.
It's true.
There is, and she's pretty young. She's a lot younger than
Wally.
Than Jesse. So,
Mm-hmm.
and
Wally,
Jesse's the youngest.
Oh, okay. I thought Wally was younger than Jesse.
No, I think Jesse's younger because Jesse.
You're right, because she wasn't able to drink.
She wasn't able to drink, and she was just going into college, and she was like going to college early. So I think she's about
17
or 18, and I think Wally's like 19 or 20.
18 normally when you graduate high school, though.
I guess it is.
Hmm.
I don't remember when they said she was how far along she was in college. Anyway, that's what I think.
Yeah.
But I liked Wally and Jesse in this episode because they're little cutie pants. They're adorable, and I think they like each other. And I totally.
No.
They had the same buddy relationship before Jesse went back to Earth 2. So I'm glad to see that it hasn't really changed.
Yeah. Yeah, and then she was like, "I want to tell you first," and he was like, "Really?"
Yeah. It was so cute.
Why didn't you just call me on our cross-dimensional telephone?
Mm-hmm.
If only. I'm sure they'll make one of those soon.
Oh yeah. I can just see Cisco being like, "Hey, look what I made."
Yeah.
It'll have to be a walkie-talkie that vibrates cross dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the only budding romance that we had going on.
Oh my god, don't make me puke.
Oh, Iris and Barry?
Yeah.
They went on some dates. First one didn't go too well.
No.
Second one was kind of better. They're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about 3 minutes less, so 10 seconds long. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the realization that Barry came to really quick. Like, he's like, the Flash is part of who I am. We're not getting rid of it. Like, you can't just block out a whole part of me and expect us to be compatible and, everything to be okay. And funny enough, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because I know Cleo hates it, but we just went through the same thing on Gotham between Jim and his girlfriend over there. Like, they just came to the exact same realization over there. So,
Okay.
I was just like, after watching Gotham and then watching The Flash now, I'm just like, as, like, this date is going really bad, I'm sitting there screaming at Barry, and I go, it's because you're trying to give up part of yourself. Like, you can't just shut half of yourself off when you're doing this. Like, yes, it was Iris's idea, but you shouldn't just go along with that, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I
I was
mean,
glad that Barry didn't make a stupid decision when it came to that for once, you know?
Yeah. Well, I
she
think he's really, this episode he used his brain, and I think he's definitely doesn't want to fuck things up with Iris, so he's gonna
Yeah.
keep using his brain.
But,
the the
oh,
way that Iris worded it was she didn't want to talk Flash during the date. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean he had to completely exclude the Flash from himself. It was just the
Yeah, but
way
I
that
think
Barry interpreted it, I think.
yeah.
And like at first that's how I interpreted it as well, but looking back, she said she just doesn't want to talk Flash, meaning it's like, you sit down for dinner, you don't want to talk about work, you just want to talk about how your day went, like without
yeah.
work.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
I also I like that because I in the beginning when they were going on their date they used that song Electric Love or whatever that song is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they've used that song for them before.
Okay.
Because
So it's like their
when I heard it
theme
I
song now?
like yeah exactly and I was like oh you know what that's a pretty good song for them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I heard it I was like yeah
Where
okay, I
did
can do it.
where did they run to?
It looked like they ran to Coast City like somewhere really far away and then Barry just leaves her.
And she's like, that's fine. I'll figure it out. I'll get home
Are
somehow.
you gonna come back for her? Are you gonna finish the date when you're done at work? Or are you just gonna leave her
They're
there?
sitting in the restaurant. I'm literally like, Barry, just take her to like France or Italy or something for, your date. Like, it would be fantastic. And then all of a sudden he just grabs her and they run and I'm just like, where are they going? And it's just like,
Where did they go?
they're really far away. And he's like, okay, I gotta go, bye. And then it's just like, what the hell just happened?
Well, I think it was like it's like when he ran to Coast City for the pizza.
Right.
I think that's where he went to Coast City, and that's pretty far from Central City. So
That's in California, right?
I think yeah.
And where's
Oh,
Central City?
Yo, I don't know.
In the center?
I feel like I keep saying I'm gonna look up a map, and I never do, or I can't find a good one. But yeah, it's not close.
It's been vaguely defined over the years.
Yeah.
Ohio?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's wow. Running from Ohio to California. Yeah. Yeah. That's far.
Most
brother
recently,
drives
Central City has
Ohio.
most often been located in the state of Missouri. And then maps of Young Justice place Central City in Missouri across from Keystone City, Kansas. Additionally, the 2014 television series The Flash also places Central City in Missouri.
Okay.
St. Louis. Yeah, so it's far.
It's a distance.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, Aubrey James in chat is saying, I do not like Iris and Barry. That relationship is sickening. Aren't they brother and sister?
Well,
Not really.
yes, but no. I mean, obviously they're not blood related.
Right.
They grew up together. I mean,
They
you can
grew-
have a neighbor that is just like a brother or sister, but you've grown up together and eventually end up together. It's not.
And it's not like from very young children. I mean,
No.
they were 10.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Barry still obviously remembered his father, remembered his mother. It's not like he only knew Joe growing up kind of thing.
Mhm.
So he knew that Iris wasn't his sister, and that they've never...
They've both
They've
known.
never called each other brother and sister. They've never had that thing. Yes, it's out of the norm. Yes, it's a little awkward, but it's not... it's not something that's frowned upon, because like you hear of sometimes there's people where you'll have like two people dating and then their parents who were divorced start dating. right?
Yeah.
And then you start
Yeah.
thinking about that, and then that it's like you're dating your stepbrother, or you're married to
Yeah.
your stepbrother at that point. If like things go well for both couples, it happens. It's awkward.
At that
It's
point,
weird to describe, but yeah, it happens, and that's
however,
there's
at that
technically
point,
nothing wrong with it.
you have to start blaming your parents.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Guys, come on. We started dating first. Get over it.
right, right. I mean, it's awkward. It's out of the norm. It's unusual. It's a little weird, but guess what? It's still
Life is weird.
it's still alright. You know, it's
Life
not.
is strange.
It's not like they're crossbreeding or
Yeah, it's not
interbred or anything like
inbred
that.
or anything like that.
No.
Yes, it's out of the norm. Yes, it's a little weird, but it's still all right. So, but I mean, I totally get where if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable or whatever, like I get that.
Mhm.
Because personally, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah,
So.
no, shut it down. So yeah, Magenta was gonna drop a boat on the hospital.
Not
That
Just
was
just,
cute
not just
little.
a
kill
boat.
her.
Not just a boat.
You
A
don't know,
tanker.
a fucking tanker. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably also full of fuel.
Because when you think of boat, I'm thinking of like the one that attacked Jaws. You know,
We're gonna need a bigger boat. This is the bigger boat, by the way.
which I would have loved if Street Shark, Killer Shark, what was his name? I would have loved if they like chased after him on the Jaws like tugboat thing. That would have been fantastic.
Or if he just like showed up this episode, and it's like, oh hey, look, they got a bigger boat, and then left.
Well, he was in the previews before the show started.
Oh yeah, so he's gonna be in this season.
No,
No?
Was he in the previews?
it was like the road up till now kind of
Oh,
previews.
okay.
He was in those.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I
We've
thought you
been
meant,
fighting
like,
all these
for this
monsters.
season.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
He might be in this season. We don't know.
Mhm.
I mean, where is he
Brian
right now?
Come back. Huh?
He's swimming
wasn't
in a
he
tank somewhere.
Yeah, in that
Okay.
institution that Diggle was part of.
Argus.
That's the one.
Yeah, you know, lot of stuff's happened to Argus, so he might not be there anymore. Who fucking knows?
Mm.
But yeah, and I have to say, and I know this is probably stupid of me to feel this way, but I was a little disappointed that Wells had to like give Jesse permission to help, and it wasn't like she's like, I'm gonna go, and then Wells was okay with it. It was like, go, Jesse, I'm giving you permission. I guess it's just me.
I didn't take it that way. I took it as she's conflicted because she just got yelled at not to use her powers and everything. So she wants to help, but at the same time she's still a child, right?
Yeah.
So she's got to listen to her father. And then it was more of, you need to go. Like, this is you
Yeah.
have to be doing this. Like, you should
He
be
saw
doing
it.
this. It's
He
not like
saw the shit
it's
happening,
not like
and he was just
it's
like,
not like giving permission. It is giving permission, but it's not. It's like it's acceptance of this is who you should be. Like, this is what you wanted. Here you go. Like, do it.
Yeah, and it was a little bit of an apology too.
Yeah, that's exactly how I took it. So yeah, I don't think it's stupid to bring up at all or feel that way, but there's a lot of things that are all just like different mixed emotion, and it's easy to say from an outsider's point of view, looking at it being like, no, that's bad, Harry, bad. But you know, when you're a parent and you're trying to protect your child, it's a whole different feeling.
And I mean, she did have a point when she was talking to Caitlin too. It's like it's also hard for her not to see this as, oh, it's because I'm a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is probably a good chance that Harrison probably would have also been protective of a son, but you know, like we see Joe is also protective of Wally here too about this. But you can't help but feel a little bit is because she's a girl.
So when Wally gets his powers now, we're gonna deal with this all over again with Joe.
I don't know.
Oh my God,
I think
when Barry started screaming at Wally.
Yeah, it's like Barry yelling. It's like, Barry, you're not helping.
And I absolutely loved when Barry goes, Joe, do you have anything else to add to it? And he goes,
No, you've covered all.
You got it.
You covered all the topics.
Yeah, he's sitting there, all chill, leaning up against the wall, arms crossed, like, no, you got it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I
loved
mean,
it.
I think a lot of it is because Barry knows how it went when Wally was the Flash.
Mhm.
He saw Wally get like mortally
Oh,
injured.
that's 100% what it is, and that's why he has a bigger overreaction than Joe. I feel like Barry's not going to accept it more than Joe's not going to
Yes.
accept it.
Yes, I
Yeah.
believe that too. And I think the problem, and if he does get his powers from alchemy, if alchemy comes and says, "I can give you what you want," and because it seems like alchemy comes to these metas, and he's like, "You want this, right?" And like they have to accept. Like he doesn't really just force it on any of them; they all accept.
Right, and that's why Aubrey is saying in chat, I feel that Dr. Alchemy is not the villain. He said he's preparing the world for something.
Yes. Which is why if it is Julian, I think he's not going. If he is like antagonist for a while, I don't think he's going to be the villain for that much
I
longer.
just still can't think of him as Dr. Alchemy, though. All I hear is Jigsaw. All I hear is
See-
Jigsaw the whole time.
I really want it to be just like he's preparing like the world for something like super
It's the
crazy.
prequel. It's the prequel to Saw.
No.
No. Me and Nikki are just like, no, stop.
James Kramer is preparing the world for making themselves better.
See, to not call somebody to be like, that's not a villain because they're doing something for the world. I mean, it's kind of like saying, there are villains out there who think they're doing good for the world, but they're still doing bad.
Yes.
It's just a, personal perspective thing. So, Dr. Alchemy could be bringing all these metas and bringing them back and into Earth 1 because he thinks he's doing good. He's preparing the world, but in fact, he's actually causing destruction and chaos.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, though. I think he is the villain now, but if he's doing this for a good reason, he can be persuaded to come to the good side.
Hmm.
So I think
with a
I
voice
definitely
like
think
that,
both.
there's no way you're a good guy.
Oh, come on.
Mm-mm.
Come on. Maybe it's going to be like a Vader thing where like in the end it's like
Oh yeah,
he saves the world.
It's already confirmed that John Kramer, I'm the guy from Saw, that Tobin Bell is not actually under the costume. That's 100% confirmed.
Oh yeah.
He's just the voice. That is all he is. So knowing that Tobin Bell is not under the Dr. Alchemy costume and is only supplying the voice means it could literally be anybody. It could look like anything.
Yes.
So
Yes. It's true.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm excited. I want to know what he's preparing the world for. I want it to be just some really big DC overarching villain, like just something.
It's gonna be
batshit
something
crazy.
to do with the crossover. It's gonna be something to do
Yeah.
with the Earth.
Oh, I fucking bet.
He's trying to save the Earth.
Yeah. God,
Maybe the crossover is what's going to save the Earth, but he's preparing these metas thinking that it is the whole like combination of the worlds that's going to destroy the Earth when it's not, and he thinks that it is, and he's going to try to prevent it.
Maybe he wants to prevent whatever is going to force them to merge Earths in order to save Earths.
Well,
you know
I
what
also
I mean?
like
Stop before it starts.
what is
Yeah.
what's
Crisis on Infinite Earths?
no, what's the name of the character that
Oh.
The kid I don't like now?
Julian?
Julian.
I love it.
When they were talking and somebody mentioned alchemy, right?
Yeah.
He goes, "Have you heard that name before?" Right? To Barry?
Yeah.
If somebody just brought up alchemy, I'm not going to think that's a name. I'm going to think that's, like
that's a good point.
Yeah.
So that already raised a red flag to me. And I'm like,
well, but he did hear Clarence say that as if he was talking to a person. So
he
in
just
context,
said the words
you can
alchemy.
assume. But he didn't just say alchemy. He said alchemy in a couple sentences. Like he was talking to alchemy.
He was clearly talking to alchemy when he was in the jail cell before he got offed.
Do you
So
believe
in
in
context,
ghosts, Barry
you can
Allen?
deduce. Yeah. Do you believe in ghosts? I loved that. That was great. And Barry's just like, duh.
Maybe.
No, but I believe in time wraiths.
Yeah, there we go.
Basically the same thing.
Dementors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Draco?
Hello?
Ballet Potter?
Oh God.
Wingardium Leviosa.
I need some Harry Potter jokes. It has to happen.
Oh, it's coming.
Oh,
It's
you
gonna-
know it's gonna
as
come out of
soon as-
Cisco's mouth.
Cisco.
Yeah, so Cisco and Julian, they're gonna have an interaction, and all the Harry Potter
Yeah,
jokes are just
Cisco's
gonna
call him
spilling
Draco.
out. Oh no!
This is a tangent, but Dom, I must say, out of all the backgrounds you use, out of all the places you go in these podcasts,
Yes.
this one matches the lighting perfectly.
Yes, yes.
You actually look like you're in.
I am in Jitters.
Jitters.
Yes, I am.
You need to get an orange chair though.
It's after hours. No, I don't need an orange chair.
There's some black chairs. Just
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway. I like Jessie's costume. I like that there's red
I want to
and
see it on her.
me too.
Yeah, I
was
was.
see you next episode.
See, my problem
They're
was
sticking around a while.
when Jessie was going to help Barry. I was like, I swear to God, if she's running around in a costume, I'm gonna flip and scream because there was no introduction to the costume, and I would have like lost my shit.
Mhm.
Thank God there was an introduction to the costume because
It was a big moment.
yeah,
It was a
It
big
was.
moment. And that whole
Hmm.
moment leading up to it, that speech and the heart-to-heart that they had, just made me want to puke. No, I mean, it was alright. I liked it. It was fine.
No, that was great. That was like
Yeah.
all the
It
things
was
that
too sweet.
even when they had made up after they had not talked for a long time, it wasn't as big of a moment as this. This is like making up for everything. This is like him saying, I understand why you didn't talk to me. I completely understand.
Caitlin, she knocked some shit into him. She took
Yeah,
her
and
boot.
she was so pissed too. She's like, don't blame this on me. You're the asshole.
Yep.
I just love. He's like, you should go talk to her, and she goes, I don't have powers, and it's like she's clearly hiding the fact that she's turning into Killer Frost.
Yeah, and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have any powers. I would be like the last person you should have. Like she talked a little too much for
Mhm.
for that. I thought that was great.
I like how Cisco's like, you want me to talk to
Someone
her.
who has powers,
Yes.
who uses said powers. You
Mhm.
don't want me to
Who
talk
you
to her.
convinced to use powers, Harry?
Yep.
That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
You did do that.
Yep.
All right, so I'm super excited to talk about next episode because
Well,
next episode.
hold on. I just have to mention, for
Fine.
anyone who did not watch Legends of Tomorrow, we got a bombshell kind of announcement.
Oh yeah, that.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah, that.
Seems Eobard is traveling through time, meeting with Damien Dark from Arrow's the last season of Arrow, and he's up
Back
to no
in
good.
1942, though.
Yeah, 1942. So he's up to something, and I think this is a direct result of Flashpoint, like the whole events of him being kidnapped and So he's going around and he's messing with stuff, which is what caused, I think, the second timeline to begin with. So.
Chris, is your face the same face for what I read? Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
me
so.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't,
Sorry, Aubrey. I don't agree.
Yeah.
What, shipping
Aubrey-
Caitlin and Wells?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't
Caitlyn
like
and-
cheating on people's
Caitlin
ships.
and Cisco have
I
to
didn't-
hook up.
I
That's
just
got to be
don't-
a thing. Caitlin
No.
and Cisco.
No. That's terrible.
Super BFFs. Caitlin and Cisco are super BFFs.
Okay,
Leave that
Caitlin
alone.
and Barry then.
No.
Listen, there was a time where Pinterest thought I was a Caitlin and Barry shipper, and I the whole time I was just like, no, I don't want to see this shit. Get shit off my timeline. I'm sorry. I have opinions, and I don't mean to get on ships, but it happens.
So
Yeah, I don't like that
who's
ship
fit
either.
for your precious Cisco, Cleo?
I liked him and Lisa.
Lisa?
I want her to come back.
Oh, Snart.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That is interesting.
It just seems
I also like
weird.
that she's a good 6 inches taller than him too.
Yeah. So who do you see with Caitlin with? And don't cop out and give me Earth 2
You know,
Ronnie.
listen, Caitlyn's got wounds, you know.
Yeah, she needs to lick those wounds first before she decides to get on the man.
Yeah, because Jesus, she's got an awful track record.
Did we
She
ever
does.
find out what happened to Ronnie's body?
No, he burned up.
Yeah, he's sizzled. He's ashes.
Yeah, there's nothing left.
I thought his body gets sucked through the vortex.
No, it burned up. He was in the center of the...
Because weren't we thinking for a whole time that he ended up going to Earth 2?
Yeah, because he could have.
He could
It
have,
was
but
possible that he could have ended up on the other side of the singularity, but I
still think he's over there.
He might. He might be with no memories. That'd be really interesting.
Yeah. Or just like in a very different area.
Golden Vibe! That's the best ship name ever!
Golden Vibe. That sounds like something we should not be talking about on the podcast.
I know! I thought the same thing.
I love that name!
Huh.
I do, though. It's great.
Well. Next episode.
right. Speaking of the Cold, Captain Cold, Captain Cold returns. Mirror Master and the Top. And the Top? I don't know who the Top is. Barry continues to train Jesse. Oh god, I can't read. And when a new metahuman Mirror Master appears on the scene, he lets her tag along. Mirror Master has teamed up with his old partner, Top. Who the fuck is Top?
I guess we'll find out.
In the police
Yes, we will.
force? I don't know. So hold on. Captain Cold returns.
They're looking for Snart to even a score. Jesse is quick to join the chase, but defies one of Barry's orders, which is disastrous.
So Snart's alive?
I guess so.
Wibbly wobbly.
So
Yeah.
I'm assuming
Timey-wimey.
that this fracture in the thing that caused Snart to maybe not go with the Legends.
But then why is...
I mean, the only reason why Mick went to the Legends was because of Snart.
Mick wouldn't be there.
This timeline was changed to the point where they were never partners in the first place.
Oh, get out.
Right?
Stop.
Right? And then it modified all this stuff, would explain why they have not even mentioned Snart again now on Legends, because I thought that was kind of interesting that they never once mentioned Snart's absence.
Yeah, because he died, heroically. That's nothing you would forget about.
They'd be remembering him, or there would be some kind of reference to him, something, but there was nothing.
But you see, no, now that brings up even more headaches, because they exist in they're like traveling in the in-between time bits. So how does Barry's little adventure affect them in the temporal?
Because if he changed it to the point where Snart never got on in the first place.
But they're going back to the 1950s. They're going back to medieval times.
They're doing stuff where they're altering stuff, and then it's time to, before it cements in, but all this stuff that was altered possibly already cemented. And if it's finalized, then... So
you think that it could have it cemented, but then it just took Snart out of all of those events?
Yeah.
But Snart, the reason they are victorious in the end is because he sacrifices himself.
Yeah. And they weren't even...
Sorry, spoilers for Legends. But
well, I mean, if you're yeah. Everything's connected, so if you're not caught up or anything like that...
Every show, we're just going to spoil the shit out of it for you.
I don't know. We're going to have to see how this is handled next week on Flash.
Yeah, because
they're going to have to explain something.
You're right. They don't. The synopsis doesn't explain any of it.
No.
So
that really confuses me. Because even when Barry went back in time, they were all time scattered in their own little bits, right? So they were back in the past before Barry could have even gone in and screwed things up.
Because for the last 6 months, which is when Barry was changing all this stuff, they've just been constantly going through time.
Right, but if Barry changed events and
I know.
made it, whatever, then it's possible that S.T.A.R never boarded the ship in the first place.
Oh no, I know. But I think the problem's gonna be if that did change, how can you justify them still winning at the end?
What I'm saying is that they were in a different time when Barry did all that, did all the mumbo jumbo that they did, and their memories are still gonna be there.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Depending on how the time travel works, right?
Yeah.
It really depends, because yes, I get it. You're saying, oh, they're in the past and everything, Barry's changing, whatever. But if Barry changes, because their past is still our present, like not exactly our present, but their past is still them being part of recruiting the team. Like, that's not going to change, right? Like, getting on the ship for the first time is still their past.
Yes, yeah.
Right, regardless of their actions of what they've done. So if something was changed in the events that prevented one of them from boarding the ship in the first place, then regardless of them time traveling, that event still never happened because that's their past.
Yeah.
I don't know. I figure they've been bouncing around time so much that they're not really following the timeline that we know of in Flash. They're all over the place. So
you're right. They're not, but their past is still rooted in this timeline.
I think also the problem is going to be, does Team Flash know S.T.A.R's even dead?
Right.
Because if they don't, they're going to carry on, or maybe they'll be like, why aren't you flying around in time? And he's going to be like, what? That sort of thing. Or
this isn't really S.T.A.R, it's Earth 2 S.T.A.R, or...
Yeah, something.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't. We're gonna have to find out, because that has a lot of questions.
Big questions revolving this one fucking sentence of the synopsis.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm more interested in
Captain
that
Cold
than the rest of it.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Although Mirror Master's a great villain. Like, Mirror Master's great, and I can't wait to see how they handle that.
Yeah. Tack is asking in chat, who will die this season?
I was like, he's just gonna say that because he says it like the it just reminded me of how they say, yeah, like it has to happen, but that's how they say it in like trailers. Who will die? Dun dun dun.
It's gonna be Snide again.
I have my theory.
Yeah,
and
it's gonna be Jesse. I disagree, because I really like Jesse.
I think I really like Jesse too.
No, it could be Wells again.
I think it might be Wells, because when's a good time to kill a character off? When you've had emotional, closure. Up.
I mean, Wally already died this season.
It's true.
That's true. So that question could already be answered.
And I think that's going to be the route that they're pushing, is Barry's going to have this memory of him dying, and it's going to be the big conflict, because he's going to keep seeing him die, and he's going to want to protect him, and I think Barry's going to be so focused on saving him that Barry's going to let some other stuff slide, so.
Yeah, probably.
So.
Meh.
All right, so that's all I've got to say. You guys good?
Mm-hmm.
No, my head's still hurting, but I don't want to continue it anymore, because we could just sit here all night with ifs, and it's never gonna.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Dom, where can people find you?
You can find me down below at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM.
Do. Nikki, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at LadyVenom24, LadyVenom24.
You can find me at Cleomoto, and you can find all of us at ASOTV Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, Google+, and right here on YouTube. Follow us for some more podcasts from some of your favorite TV shows, video games, and movies. Until next time, bye guys.
And Tack is asking, will Grodd be imbued with the Speed Force when he returns this season? How awesome would that be?
Grodd is just coming.
Super fast gorilla?
Grodd, he doesn't need the Speed Force to come back. He's just gonna come back and he's gonna kick some ass.
He's gonna talk and he's gonna say, "Shut up, hairless apes."
Yep.